Well, what happens when a wiener meets an anon? I guess you're going to find out. I've also got some information on more Facebook censoring and just a little bit on the Nancy Pelosi salon situation. So stick with me, folks, and I'll be right back. Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and yeah, I'm gonna tell you about yet another wiener. You know, I've gone my entire life without ever knowing someone whose last name was Weiner, and now we have Anthony Weiner, and then this new guy whose last name is also Weiner, and yeah, he's just about the same kind of person, and we'll get to that in a minute. But we got a few other things. I just got a jam-packed full video for you, so let's get going. First of all, if you didn't catch this, there was a woman at the Biden event. I was told to go off this paper, but I can't do that. So listen to this.
Hello, my name is Portia Bennett. I'm just going to be honest, Mr. Biden. I was told to go off this paper, but I can't. You need the truth. And I'm part of the truth.
Oh, good for her, right? She didn't read off the paper. So we know now that, yeah, the people that were there were all planted, or at least they had a script to read off of. Here's the really odd thing. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think in Kenosha right now the churches aren't supposed to be open. So people can't go to churches to sing and worship God, but they can go to have a political rally, such as it is. So just wanted to put that out there for you. But yeah, this is pretty much confirmed that Biden's handlers give people scripts to read because they think we're too stupid to do it ourselves. I'm glad this woman spoke up. Good for her. Anyway, let's go on. Facebook has some new terms of service coming up on October 1st. And if you read through it, it pretty much is gonna allow them to just block or remove anything they want to that they think might be a potential issue for their platform. So it's going to give them an awful lot of latitude. And again, I don't see how they can possibly do this and still retain their Section 230 status. It just doesn't make sense. So they've already said, we also can remove or restrict access to your content, services, or information if we determine that doing so is reasonably necessary to avoid or mitigate adverse legal or regulatory impacts to Facebook. Well, the whole point of the Section 230 was to give them an immunity. And if they're going to censor, then they can't have the immunity. See, that's how it works. But let's see what happens. And if you don't believe that this is true, that they're doing this, I've got to tell you, folks, it's real. And this is a group called Collective Evolution. And actually, that's the person that wrote this article here on Patriot Rising is from that. They're part of that Collective Evolution. But if you look at this, now I know I've talked about it for myself, but I don't talk about it to complain about my financial status or anything. And that's not the reason this guy is saying it either. It's that you need to see the reality of what is happening and how people are being censored. And if we don't tell you what's going on with us in our finances or how they've been affected by this censoring, you're never going to know. And we need you to understand what's happening, because if you're not behind the scenes, you're not seeing how this is impacting patriots. Okay? These are conservatives, and honestly, I don't know that this Collective Evolution is technically conservative. I think they're just trying to put out news, but they tend to go a little more on the conservative side from what I've seen. But I wanted to show you this because this really tells you the truth. Look at this. See, Google has ways of putting ads like on your website, or you notice on YouTube videos, you get to put ads on there. Well, in the process of this, they sell the ads and then they keep part of the revenue from that ad and they pass on the revenue to the people whose sites those ads display on. And so it's kind of a win-win situation, and we all need each other in this process, really, to make the money that we need to have to continue these services for free like we do. Like, you don't have to pay anything to come watch this video. You watch an ad, and that's the payment right there. And for the services to remain free, that's what they got to do. Now, I don't know if you've noticed lately, but in most videos that I've seen where there are ads in the middle, like not necessarily the ad at the beginning or the ad at the end, but there's ads in the middle. And usually those ads in the middle, if the channel owner is not paying attention, YouTube puts them in automatically, and they put them like every 3 minutes or something in the entire video. So it's like constantly ad after ad after ad. That's new, okay? That has changed, and they've been really increasing those ads. Now, my opinion on that is the reason they're doing it is because they're losing money, because they have demonetized so many of our videos. See, because if they're demonetized, we're not getting the revenue, but neither are they. So they're kind of cutting off their nose to spite their face on this. But look at this. I've got to tell you, these people had 7 years of working with the Google AdSense program, and Google's demonetization is starting to hit them big time, because what happened is, now see, for 7 years they had 1 to 9% of their ad revenue removed each month, because Google deemed that it was not valid, that it was put out there by bots, or it was done, because there are some people that will pay to have a bot farm just totally increase their views, all right, purposely to get more revenue. So I understand that, and 1%'s not so bad. When you get up to 9%, that would be, not real nice. I wouldn't like that. But look at this. So September 2019, they had 1%, 1%, 5%, 9%. Then it jumps January of 2020 to 41% of all their views have been just decimated. They've just like sucked those out because they said, no, those are not valid views. Yeah. Now, do you really think that there was a huge change between December and January? I don't think so either. And then it increases more, 48, 62, 72, 72, 82, 81%. That's huge. That's almost all of your views are being taken away just because Google says, well, they're not valid. Well, how do we know they're not valid? You're just saying it because you don't want us to get money because we're conservatives and you don't like what we're saying. Well, anyway, so let me play just this little clip here.
And so what this was saying was that, let's say we were going to make, and I'll show you a quick example right here. This is last month in July. We were supposed to make $12,993. Google took away $10,608. So they're taking away 82% of the revenue that we're supposed to make all of a sudden, right? They don't notify us of this. We actually didn't find out because we'd been doing this for 7 years. So I didn't even notice. I was talking with accounting here at our company and I was like, yeah, no, we made like 7-8 grand last year, even through all the demonetization. We made last month, we made like 7 or 8 grand on ads. And it was like, no, that's not what came in the account. I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, no, like a fraction of that came in the account. So I started to look by the time I think we hit around March, I started to look and I'm like, oh wow, January and February, Google took away like almost 50% of our revenue. This doesn't make any sense. And then I noticed in March, they did it again. And that's when we started to realize, okay, there's a problem here. So we started to look into it. We started to search. We couldn't figure out why they were doing this. There's no answer. There's no clarity as to why all of a sudden, at the time, they were like a massive, like 40% increase over how much they're suddenly taking away our revenue. And then as April, May, and June continues on, I'm like, wow, they're increasing it. And at this time, I'm speaking with our IT team and I'm saying, my honest perspective on this, the intuition that's coming up about what's happening here, especially since none of the other advertisers that we work with are doing this, is that Google is just trying to push out publishers that it does not want to work with. So they have some algorithm, they have something that's specifically targeted towards certain websites that states, we want to push you out, so we're going to make your life a living hell working with us. And that's what they continue to do as our invalid traffic just kept increasing and increasing and increasing to the point where eventually they were saying 80% of your traffic is invalid.
Okay, so again, we have no documentation to show us what they're claiming is true. We just see that our views are plummeting and we're not getting near what we used to get. I mean, I had many videos that got 40 to 60,000 views each. And now I get between 3 to 5,000 views. It's huge. It's huge. And when you're talking about organizations like his, I mean, some of these bigger channels, they're talking tens of thousands of dollars. And it is a huge thing that's happening. This is how they're trying to stifle our voices by starving us out. I mean, last month alone, I had to demonetize like half of my videos just because I talked about things that they consider controversial issues. So anyway, I'm going to leave this video down below. I highly recommend you watch the whole thing because you get a better view of it. But this is what they're trying to get across. And I need you to see that because now their revenue was not just from their videos. It was also from their website where they had Google Ads. Now I don't have Google Ads on my website. I don't get a lot of traffic, so it wouldn't really be that profitable for me. But you know, this thing right here, this is huge. This is a type of fraud and deception that they're just making it up, that there is fraudulent traffic. It's not fraudulent traffic. It's real. I mean, I went through a stage where they literally took away 600 or more subscribers. Kind of worked hard to gain those, I had hoped. And then all of a sudden, I just was set way back. Every day I had a negative loss. And so he put some other statistics in there that show what was going on. But yeah, it's been huge. And I try to get people to understand that. Now, for smaller channels like mine, I'm not talking about as much money, but some of these bigger channels have literally lost tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars since this all's been going on. All of these conservative channels, and this is what they're trying to do. They figure if they can keep us from making money, then we'll stop putting out videos, which is what they want. And, you know, in reality, if we rely on this, and some of us do for our income, and then we don't have the income, you got to get another job. And if you get another job, there's not time to do all the videos. So you see what we're saying? It's not that we don't want to do them. It's just you got to pay bills too. So this is a very important piece of information that I think you need to be aware of. Please watch that video. I'll put the link down below in the description like usual. Okay, let's just go on. This is an article by The Hill saying Facebook, Twitter seek to limit spread of Trump remarks on voting twice to test system. Okay, first clarity, he did not tell people to vote twice. What he told them to do was, okay, if they're going to send you a ballot, then you fill out the ballot, you send that in. Then you go and you verify that it's been received. And you can go to the polls, and in most states, in almost all states, you can go to the polls and you can say, I need you to check to see if, you know, if it's already listing me as having voted. Because I sent in my mail-in vote, I want to make sure that my ballot was received and has been credited, that my vote's going to count. And if not, then you can fill out a provisional ballot there at the polling place. And that provisional ballot will stand in case your mail-in ballot didn't make it. So President Trump never recommended that people vote twice. He just wanted people to verify that their vote was going to be counted. Now, again, I'm telling you, please go vote in person, because you're never going to know if your vote was one of them that was tossed aside, because in a couple of these primary elections, 20% of the votes were tossed aside for various reasons, like the signature didn't match, or, it wasn't done properly, or whatever the case is, 20%. Do you want to be one of those 20%? I don't think so. If you can at all, and I understand there are some health issues that are going to cause people not to be able to, but if you can at all show up at the polls, do it. Please do it. This is an interesting article. It's just, Facebook and Twitter want to silence our president. And that should be something that all Americans should be worried about. That they are stopping our president from communicating with the people. And no matter which side of the fence you're on this, it should be something that we all worry about. Okay, well, this moves me on to another thing, and that is Forbes has come across a poll that was done, and they say the majority of Republicans believe the QAnon conspiracy theory is partly or mostly true. Gee, guess what? And so 56% of Republicans believe that QAnon, a far-right conspiracy theory, truth, is mostly or partly true. And this is the poll right here. You can go to this summary page here, and it says something that kind of concerned me. It said, first of all, it was 1,368 adults in the United States, and the survey was conducted online among selected members of the Civiqs research panel. That sounds odd to me. Doesn't it sound odd to you? Plus, if you go here, you can actually see the questions that they asked and everything, and you can find out how it was divided up. That's on the very last page. It had 33% Democrats and 27% Republicans and then 40% independents. So I don't think that 33% Democrats, 27% Republicans, you're going to get some skewing there because of the difference. I just think, I think it was probably very skewed. And anyway, it's, they call us outlandish assertions. Yeah. Very interesting. And of course, it's pretty much the same old thing that they tell. They just all repeat the same information that all comes from Media Matters. You know how that works. Anyway, so let's move on to another topic because this actually ties in. So stick with me here. In foreboding ruling, appeals court says transgender students may use restroom of choice. This just came out. So yeah, now kids in your high school, or junior high even, or whatever, if you feel like you're a boy, you can go into the boys' restroom. If you feel like you're a girl, you can go into the girls' restroom, because forget about science. It's all about just perceptions. It's what you think you are. And so they're trying to say that it's like being black, because it just doesn't hold water to me, in my opinion. But that's what they're trying to compare it to, being black. And this is what he said. It's like racially segregated bathrooms. No, it's like biology, but they don't want to hear that. They complain that the Republicans ignore science, and it's like, wait a minute, you're doing this. This is ignoring science right here. So anyway, but that was something that just came out. Now that's an appeals court, so it can go higher up, and it likely will. I assume that's probably going to eventually end up in the Supreme Court, but we'll see. But anyway, how this connects in with Q has to do with a Weiner. Yeah. So, Senator Scott Weiner. Oh, folks, I really don't understand it. Why do the same names keep popping up? And they're names like this that just kind of describe the person. Anyway, QAnon is deeply infecting the GOP. In the past day, I've been attacked for our bill to end discrimination against LGBTQ young people on California's sex offender registry by Rush Limbaugh, Breitbart, Daily Caller, the GOP Senate leader, all using QAnon lies. Okay, I'm not real sure what, this really doesn't have anything to do with Q. Q has never talked about LGBTQ, okay? But this is a California state senator, and so if you go to his site, you can find out that he met QAnon mob came for him because he's pushing this bill. Now notice it says bill pushing LGBTQ equality. Oh, no, it's not. You know what this bill is about? It's about the sex offender registry and trying to make it so that if you are messing with a kid who is less than 10 years younger than you, that you are not listed as a sex offender. Yeah. Okay, we'll look at that in just a minute. But anyway, look what he calls the Anons. QAnon troll accounts have sicked their rabid followers on him, latching on to a bill he's introduced to reform California's sex offender registry. That's, of course, from Mother Jones. We are rabid followers, I guess. Oh, my. No, we're just trying to put some sanity in this. California reduces penalties for pedophilia with willing kids. Yeah, that's what it is. Now, how does that have anything to do with LGBTQ equality? See, it is so misleading. It has nothing to do with that. What they're trying to do, oh, there he is, skinny little guy in the middle there. Anyway, so California lawmakers have sent a bill to the desk of Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom that would reduce penalties for adults who have oral or anal sex with a willing minor child if the offender is no more than 10 years older than the victim. Yes, and the objective is to end blatant discrimination against young LGBT people engaged in consensual activity. That makes no sense. You know, it doesn't matter if they're heterosexual. If the person is a minor, it's still illegal. Yeah. Anyway, here is the bill itself. And yes, it says that it passed the Senate. Now remember, this is just in California, okay? So it passed the Senate August 31st. And it passed the Assembly on August 31st, which I find really odd that it passes them both on the same day. I don't know. I would think it'd be different. It doesn't have the date filled in that the governor received it, but anyway. And then down here it is, and it's to amend these sections of the penal code relating to sex offenders, and it's by Weiner. Just can't make this up. I swear, the cabal just gives these people names. I mean, they purposely name them this way. So, you know, you had, back with Obama, when you had the press secretaries, you had Jay Carney, you know, like Carneys go out there and bark the lies just to get people in. And then you had Josh Earnest, because he was so earnest. I mean, it's just really like they take these names and they purposely name the people after them. Oh. Existing law, the Sex Offender Registration Act, requires a person convicted of one of certain crimes as specified to register with law enforcement as a sex offender while residing in California or while attending school or working in California as specified. A willful failure to register, as required by the Act, is a misdemeanor or felony, depending on the underlying offense. This bill would exempt from mandatory registration under the Act a person convicted of certain offenses involving minors if the person is not more than 10 years older than the minor, and if that offense is the only one requiring the person to register. So I guess that means like a 20-year-old can do an 11-year-old, and that's okay. See, this is the problem. When they came out with the idea and they kept chanting, love is love, this is what they were setting us up for, right here. And I saw it back then when it first came out. That's what they want. So anyway, moving on to other subjects, just because that is something that California is probably going to have as law very soon, because if it passed both houses, I'm pretty sure Gavin's going to go ahead and sign it. So, scary stuff. Scary stuff. And especially since that's where Hollywood is and all of that. Yeah. So, I just wanted to show you this. Kayleigh McEnany puts Nancy Pelosi's black market blowout on blast at White House briefing. So, yeah, here's Kayleigh up there. She's talking, doing her briefing, and she's, meanwhile, running a loop of Nancy coming through the door with her hair all wet and everything. So, yeah, I just think it's kind of funny. And, you know, she does such a good job when she's being asked questions. And I gotta tell you, folks, you know, I'm a retired teacher. And people say, oh, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Yes, there is. Okay? There are stupid questions out there. Don't let anybody fool you. There are. When a teacher is explaining an assignment, and just as soon as they get done explaining the assignment, a kid raises their hand and said, what are we supposed to do? That's a stupid question, because I just told you what you were supposed to do. And that's almost the same thing as what she goes through all the time. She told them, I don't know how many times, that when President Trump was talking about the voting, he was not telling people to vote twice. He was telling people to vote and then go make sure that their mail-in vote actually was counted. So it wasn't asking people to vote twice. But of course, the press took it as that, and they kept repeating it. And even at the end, as she's walking out, some idiot reporter asked the same thing. Why did he tell people to vote twice? It's like he didn't. How many times do we have to tell you? That was a stupid question. Very stupid. Oh, and speaking of Nancy, well, evidently protesters have gathered in front of Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco home and are stringing up curlers and blow dryers on a tree after a video surfaced of Pelosi getting her hair done indoors maskless at a San Francisco salon. And so, yeah, they took this tree and they're hanging all these curlers, curling irons, and hair dryers and stuff from it. So, and they're not salon workers or owners. They've all described themselves as angry salon customers who want to get their hair and nails done. Oh, so demonstrators have formed a hand-holding circle around a tree with blow dryers and hair curlers hanging in front of Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco home. And the tree has been decorated with an American flag and dubbed the Freedom Tree by protesters. So, the official remarks from the demonstration are over. Now the group is split in two, discussing their opinions of Nancy Pelosi and the salon video situation. By the way, they do have a GoFundMe account for the salon owner because she is being run out of business right now. The left is making death threats and everything else. She likely will have to move to a new place. Totally probably new city and everything, which she'll be better off in the long run with it. But, you know, you can't just pick up and move if you don't have money. So last I saw it was $42,000, but it's been a while since I saw that. So I will leave the link down below, and, but I forgot to bring up the GoFundMe page right now. So I'll leave the link and you can check it out. All right, this guy right here, Reread Q, says he believes that he's found the Antifa encampment in downtown Portland. This is where they have their tents set up, and it's their base home. So he believes that it's right here in this area. So here. So I'll leave the link to this down below so you can go through and you can check this out, because, you know, it says here, prayers for the fearless YouTuber who says he was chased for blocks after recording this video of this encampment. So that just might be some information if you happen to live in that area that you might want to pay attention to. But yeah, it's organized. It is organized, folks. It really is. And this one was something very interesting that this person pointed out, that he says, starting to see the wisdom in President Trump suggesting he and Joe Biden be drug tested. Check the needle holes in his hands. What cocktail are they pumping into Beijing Biden to keep him semi-coherent? Yeah, it's this hand over here, the one holding the microphone, and it's like right in the middle of the back, like right about here on the hand that's holding the mic. So watch.
Veins bulging, their hate-filled speech, chanting the same anti-Semitic Bible chanted in the streets of Germany in the 30s. And on top of that, covered by white supremacists, Ku Klux Klan, the young woman was killed. Veins bulging.
Yeah, that hand right there, the guy has had some needles in there. I mean, it's pretty obvious. So what have they been pumping him up with? Is it the same stuff that they've been giving to Ruth Bader Ginsburg? And by the way, did you notice in that wedding supposedly that she performed, she wasn't wearing a mask? Did you notice that? Just wanted you to know that. And so if it was her, whoever the person was, whenever it was, maybe it was pre-COVID time because nobody was wearing a mask. Interesting. Anyway, you want to think better of these people, but they just, when we go high, they go low, and really low. And Rasmussen did one here that I thought was just out of line because these are the pictures they put up. Look at that picture of Trump. That's horrible. But that's what they put up. And then look at the one of Biden. Oh, he looks so nice. Just such a nice guy who's not all there. But yeah, so that's what they do. And I'll leave the article if you want to read the whole article down here. It's just frustrating that that's what they do. Well, Kayleigh McEnany put up this picture. And of course, this was not a rally. This was a peaceful protest in Pennsylvania here. This is the overflow crowd. Look at the overflow. Those were the people that couldn't make it in. That's a huge number of people. So I do think the silent majority is much, much bigger than they imagined. And this, I like what Scott Pressler says here. We're going to need a bigger basket. Well, what do you think of that? That's quite a crowd, wouldn't you say? Yeah. And you remember all those times when Joe Biden and Barack Obama were out there campaigning and the crowd just started cheering USA, USA, USA. Yeah, they didn't. I don't remember those either because they never happened. And you sure didn't hear anybody saying USA, USA, USA back during the Democrat National Convention. No, you didn't hear that. But yeah, what a crowd. And, I think we're going to need a bigger basket, or at least Hillary does, right? Because she wanted to put us all in a basket. Though, lots of us deplorables. This is a really good blog post to read. I'm not going to read it because it's long, but good stuff. Because what this guy says is he is an investigative journalist here, or a trained professional with over 20 years of investigations experience. So doesn't recommend that other people do this, okay? But with his training and everything, he started infiltrating these different protests, and he went to find out what was really going on. And he said, we're hearing that these people are not, it's just organic and it's just people coming together and doing this. And he said, the biggest observation from the first protest was that despite the claims that they aren't organized, they are highly organized by a central organization. So there's just more. I mean, this is really good to read because he went to several different protests and learned a lot. There's a lot of information that he gained, And this is, from somebody who was there and who's telling us the truth. But no, you got all the lying people on the mainstream media that are probably actually in front of blue screens or green screens and not telling us the truth. And because they are highly organized, the Trump administration may use the mafia law on protesters, which is the RICO law. Here's the actual law, RICO charges, and you can read through that. I'm not going to take the time because there's just a lot there. But yeah, that's what they may do, because essentially that's what these people are. These protesters that are not protesters, they're rioters. They are paid to go in and to cause this kind of violence and chaos. They are doing that to manipulate how governments are going to work. And we saw this, if you remember, a long time ago, I did a video where I had something about I think it was the governor of Iowa, wasn't it? That was bullied into something with the Black Lives Matter. So, they are using this as a terrorist tactic to try to coerce us to do things and to coerce the governments of our cities to do things that, they wouldn't normally do. So I see them as terrorist organizations or like a mafia. Of course, I think mafia is kind of terrorist too. If you don't do what, and this is what Kayleigh was saying during the convention, if you don't vote for Trump, if you don't vote for Biden, you're going to see more of this. And they should be doing it. They should continue doing this. It's bullying at the minimum, but it's really, this is how terrorists work. If you don't do what we say, we're going to cause this to happen. The mafia, if you don't pay us the protection money, we're going to make bad things happen to you. And that's essentially what's going on. I just think this is probably a good way to be thinking right now. And they are tracking down these people. We may not see it. The investigations are behind the scenes, but it's happening. They're getting the top people. They're following the money trail, and they're going to get the people that are on top. That's what this is really telling us, that they are going to not just get the peons that, the little pawns that are being used. They're going to go right to the source. And maybe this is how they're going to get George Soros. I would hope so. But anyway, that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by. And I hope you enjoyed the chat. See y'all later.